Hey y'all, I'm Craig with the Bickums and Small Town Wreath Shop. Gonna be making a super cute crawfish boil style or crawfish wreath, seafood wreath. This is gonna be super cute, y'all. So let's get to it shortly. We're gonna be using 2 signs today, 3 ribbons, bringing in all those colors and that I can remember from a crawfish boil get together down here. Give us a like if you like our videos. We'd appreciate it. We're going to be using a 18-inch raised work form with 18 ties in orange color. And this is our 21-inch natural colored deco mesh, or deco poly mesh. This is the burlap. Just scrunch the end of it up, y'all. Just kind of scrunch it all together. And we're going to be using what they call the poof method. Just get it all together. Fold your sides in and under. You'll see, there you go, fold them down, and that's going to give you that big poof. I'm going to make 10-inch poofs. Now, I take and use small zip ties where we start and where we end. So I'm just going to take a zip tie. Once I get it in that first tie, we're going to just pick somewhere to start. Just pick a tie out and just place it in the tie. Make sure you stick it down in there all the way in the bottom of the tie. Only twist it one time. Leave yourself a couple inches. You're going to cut some of that off anyway. So push it down in there, pull it tight, and one twist is all you need. Now we're going to take that zip tie and we're going to push it through, and we're going to zip tie it to that outer ring. Just turn it over. We're going to be cutting that old tag off here in a minute. So just take and use your zip tie. Pull your zip tie tight. And then we're going to just take don't pull on them too tight, y'all, because those small zip ties are they will break. So just clip your zip tie off. Don't want that scratching up anything. And clip give it a haircut. Get rid of that old shaggy piece of that mesh. Flip it back over. Oh, let's get the tag off. Let's get this old trash off here. Don't want to leave that on there. Throw that in the garbage. Alright, flip it over. Like I said, we're going to make 10-inch poofs. This is not real hard, not rocket science, y'all. Like I said, we're making a wreath, not a watch. We ain't making a watch. So I like to measure mine though, so I'll kind of roll right there where I tied the mesh in around to the number 10 on my cutting board, on that cutting mat, and I will measure to the 20, give or take roughly, and I'll just kind of wad it all together. And then pull it to the next tie. You're going to kind of push forward. That's what's going to make it poof up because it's not 10 inches between. And there you got your first poof. Make sure they're pushed all the way down far enough in the bottom of that tie. One twist is all you need. Open your poofs up. Make sure you keep folding under as you go. And just stick it in the bottom of your tie. Make sure you pull it really, really tight, and just one twist is all you need. We're going to make sure it's all nice. Make sure your poofs are about the same size though. You don't want them to be, one big, one small. And I just like to kind of work with my poof. Make sure that it's laying at least the way I like it. Stick it down in that next tie. And pull it tight. And you just keep going all the way around. On the outer ring first is where I like to start. Or on the bottom, whatever you want to call it. On that outer ring. And just keep working your way around until you have the whole thing done, on the outer. Now, we don't cut it to start to do the upper or the inner ring. We just we meet right back at that last, or the tie that we started at, and we tie it again, and then we just kind of angle up and roll up to the first tie on the top. You'll see me doing that in just a minute. So one tie, poof it out. And now we're going to get ready we'll finish this part up and then we'll come right back. Once we get all these outer ones done, we'll come back and I'll show you how we move up to that next ring. So let us get this one more poof done, get it tied in, and then we'll come back and we'll have the outer done, and we'll start on the top with y'all. So there we go. So now let's get it done. Alright, the top's done. Now we're coming up into our last tie where we started, and we're going to just put our tie our poof in, one twist. I'm going to actually untie because your ties will start getting short the more you start shoving in there, and that tie already has 2 pieces of the mesh in it, so just untie if you have to. Work that last poof, and now you're going to angle. You're just going to angle up to the top, and we're going to catch that first the first tie. I'm still measuring my 10 inches. We're going to catch the first tie on the top. Just go right on up, just kind of angle, and just grab the first one. Tie it in, and start making your poofs again, and just around the top ring. You got, I think, 10 on the bottom and 8 on the top. So there you go. Just keep measuring and just keep putting them in. The poof method is one of our favorite ways. This was actually one of our first ways of starting to make wreaths. Now this wreath's going to be really cool. It's going to be for somebody's man cave, outdoor kitchen, just a patio, just somewhere that we have those get-togethers, whether it's the crawfish boils, fish fries, barbecues. It doesn't matter, but it's going to look really good. Somebody's going to be really proud to have this one. Going to have your friends and family over asking where you got that from. I like that. I need one. So let's finish this top, and we'll be right back. Alright, so the top's done, and we're at our last tie. So now we're going to do the same exact thing how we started. We're going to tie in the last tie, but we're going to leave ourselves about 3 or 4 inches where we're going to cut the mesh off, and we're going to fold it down in the inner part, come back underneath the ring, and we're going to zip tie that piece and trim it off as well. So we're going to leave yourself enough and just cut it off and roll it down on the inside, flip it over, and we're going to tie it to that inner ring. Just zip tie it to the inner ring, and then just trim off any excess that you might have. Make sure your zip tie is flipped the right way. That's what I was looking at there. Get it pulled tight enough and just cinch it down. Trim your zip tie, and then trim your excess on your deco mesh. Make it look nice and neat. I just like to kind of just raise it up and just trim it off. It looks nice and neat right there. Alright, we have one more step on the base with the poofs. We like to take the outer twist ties. You take those outer twist ties, and I'm going to hold it up and I'm going to show you. You take that inner tie, you go underneath the inner bar. You actually go underneath it and then back out to you. And then you tie it again. And it's going to take every one of those outer poofs, and it's going to make them stand up and roll into that wreath form. And it's going to make the wreath so much more tighter when you do just the outside ones. So do each one of those. There's all 10 of them. Go under, pull tight, one twist. Do each one like that, and it will make the wreath smaller. You'll see once it's finished, it'll make it either an inch or 2 diameter, or it'll be less, an inch or 2 less. Makes it better on your shipping, and it makes the wreath look better, in our opinion anyway. And it makes those poofs. It just makes for there's nothing really flopping. The mesh is not flopping around the outside when you do this. We learned this from Miss Tammy Hodges with Polka Dot Wreath Co. And I really think it's a good idea. It really works out really well for us. So just keep working your way around until you have all of the ties on. Alright, we got everything done. Now we're going to start cutting our 10-inch. This is a burlap and red stripe. I'm going to cut each piece for this. This is going to make our cruffles. They're going to be 18 inches. Now we've got to cut 18 of these, one for each tie. So I'm going to cut a few of them, and then I'll come back once I've got them all cut. But they're 18 inches a piece. This is the 10-inch by 10-yard rolls, and you don't want to cut them much longer than, don't cut them longer than 20 inches, because you won't have enough on the roll for all 18 of them. You'll be close, but if you cut them 18 inches, 18 to 20 inches, they make really plenty big enough cruffles, and you'll have enough with one roll. So let's cut all 18 of these, and then we'll be right back, y'all. That is my rotary tool right there as well, y'all. So let's get these things done. We can start putting our cruffles in. Alright, we got everything cut. Now we're gonna, the way I do it, I just roll them up on one end about 3 times and put a clip. We just use these little, like, kind of plastic clothespins. We keep them, we buy them, and we'll actually keep them. I eat a lot of mixed nuts, and we'll keep the cans. But just roll the other end, and then you're going to scrunch with your fingers right across to that middle part where that clip's at, and now you have your cruffle. Now my wife likes to stick hers in. That's the way I put mine. She likes to put hers down with the little curls down. I put mine with the curls up, because we are going to be putting extra curls in this wreath too. So just, you can open your ties if you need to. You know, you can just open it up or just shove it down in there. I'm actually going to open it. I'm going to untwist it and shove it right down in there as far as I can get it, and get one twist on it, and then just make them stand up. And we've got to put 18 of them in, so I'm going to do a couple here, and then we'll move right along until we have all of them in. And you'll see that the wreath steady building from here. You're just building on top, and it's going to get, you know, the more you put, the bigger it's going to get. It will cover up anything, all your imperfections, with all of the mesh. It's going to be a very colorful wreath for sure. I just wanted to think about the colors of a crawfish boil. What we put in our crawfish boils with our lemons, or even all the way down to the stainless steel or the galvanized colored pots. And it just, I was trying to bring all of that into into play here. Alright, we got all of our cruffles in now. I'm checking to make sure I didn't miss any. It's okay. You can see how one piece or a couple pieces of burlap are showing more than others. That's alright, because you're going to have it all covered up anyway. So it's just steady getting fuller and fuller. I turn it over and I kind of look, make sure that I didn't miss anything. And now I don't want this wreath round. I want it kind of oval. So I'm going to put it on my chest. And you'll see, you can squeeze them pretty good. Don't go too far, because it will break. I do one side, then I turn it around and kind of squeeze from the other way. And it's going to make it into that pretty egg shape, that pretty oval. And it's going to make the wreath look totally different. So now we have an oblong or an oval shaped wreath. Going to give me more room to be putting some more stuff, plenty of stuff in this wreath, since we're going to be using the 2 signs. Now, I did lay my signs on it to kind of get a feel where they were going to get attached. I could tell where I was going to put my holes and so on and so forth. So now I got a box of curls. I cut my curls before I started because it does take a little while to do this. This is a yellow and the orange that I'm going with. These are 10 inches. You cut those 2 meshes at 10 inches apiece. You can see the crawfish has got an orange color in it. That's what I'm showing there. And the yellow reminded me of the corn. We put corn on the cob in when we boil. And you'll see the finished product, how it just looks like the boiled corn. So you're just taking, I used a bunch of clips that we keep. Like I said, we keep these clips in a empty container that we've washed. So we keep some of these containers. That's just some mixed nuts that my wife has washed out, and we just keep some of our extra clips in it. It's a good way to store them. And you just take those clips to hold your curls together, and you can make them all, because we're putting 18 of those as well. So you needed 18 of the yellow, 18 of the orange, and one's going to go in each tie. If you see any stragglers on there, just cut them off. So keep opening up your ties, though, to give yourself room, to stick them down in there. Just untie and then push it in there, because you still got a bunch of ribbon that you got to put in as well. And you're just going to start seeing it just come together. And it's going to have all the different pretty colors. You'll see how much it looks like a crawfish boil, especially if you're from down in the South, where we do crawfish boils pretty regular. Especially now as this crawfish season has started. Actually, they start sometime in December, but we don't never start seeing them till around Mardi Gras, till it starts the Mardi Gras season, which is now. As of this date, the date that I'm recording, editing this is the 17th of January, on a Tuesday. Just make sure your curls just stand up. So just put them in there and make sure that they all standing up looking at you. It doesn't matter. You can alternate if you want to. I think I kept all the yellows down, but it doesn't really matter. But you just go around. I started on the bottom, on the outside. Put them in there. Get it tied. And then just grab your curls and just kind of stand them up, twist them around. Make sure they look like you want them. And we're going to get all the rest of them in, and we'll be right back. And look at there. If that doesn't remind you of some corn, I just don't know what would. But now you can see those oranges and reds and yellows, that burlap, that earthy color coming through. Now we've got the 2 signs, and we've got 3 different ribbons. I think that I used 4 different ribbons, actually. We used 3 for ribbon tails and 1 for some funky bows. So let's get these signs together. We just use chenille stems. I'm going to use 3 on the crawfish and 2 on the wooden sign. Make sure that I've got enough. Now what I did is I laid the sign across the wreath. Get an idea where I needed to staple my chenille stems on the wooden one, and an idea where I needed to poke my holes with my jewelry punch on my metal one. That's our, we use 2 different sizes, a 1.5 millimeter and a 1.8 millimeter. I don't remember which one was smaller. I think that's the 1.5, the purples. The 1.8 is a smaller, if the numbers go that way. Now that's how I wanted him to lay. And that's how I picked out where I was going to put my staples and poke my holes through. That is a metal embossed sign. So I wanted it on that tail where it wasn't on the sign, because I wanted his tail sitting on it, but I do want to be able to tie him to that wreath form. Now whenever you poke the holes through these embossed signs, you just pick out, make sure you're in enough that you have enough metal left that you're not going to break through the edge. Now I just put I just start putting force on with my hand, squeezing, and I twist back and forth until it goes through, because these are a little bit thicker than some of our signs, and you don't want to bend it. So just gradually start pressing and then twist, and it'll go on through. Now I'm going to do one on each claw. And y'all see how I just wanted part of his tail on the sign where it didn't cover up that E on welcome. Just start squeezing and start twisting a little bit, and you'll feel it when it pops through there. Pop, and then just work it out, pull it out, and do the other one. We like to use the chenille stems to tie our metal signs in. Down here in the South, we have so much humidity. It's hot, cool at night, so things get wet at night and get scorched during the day. And those cable tie mounts that we've tried to glue on with several different glues, sometimes they just don't hold. Sometimes they come, they release and they come off. So this is the way we opt to do it, where just stick the chenille stem through there, shove it up through about 1 inch or so, and then just twist it together. I guess over time with the humidity, that little galvanized wire may rust and actually break, but it takes a long time. I don't know if I've ever seen one of ours break, not just hanging on the wreath. So just push it through, fold it over, twist them together. Now whenever we stick the chenille stems on the wooden sign, I always use a little piece of scrap ribbon. We use 1/4 inch or 1/4 inch staples in our staple guns, and you'll see in a minute the staple gun that we use is the Sure Bonder. It's been really good. I like it, but those 1/4 inch staples, if you just staple through the back, you will see the 2 little marks on the front where the staple almost comes through. So I just take a piece of scrap ribbon and I cut them in about 1 inch strips, and you fold them up, lay them down, and you lay your chenille stem on that piece of ribbon and staple through that ribbon, and it will take up that extra space and keep that staple from showing on your pretty side of your sign where your wording's at or your pictures. That's just some orange. It does not matter what color, y'all, because you're not going to see it anyway. Just cut you some pieces about 1 inch or so long, and we're just going to fold them. Just fold them up. Flip your sign over. And I'm just going to use 2 of the chenille stems straight across from each other, but I'm going to put them in line with the staples. I opted to leave that the brown yarn string or rope or whatever you call it on there, and we're going to staple right down below those staples. And just lay your chenille stem across it. I put about 1.5 inches, above it. Just spread my fingers apart, and I just staple right through that ribbon. Oh, got my head in the way. So just there it is. Just staple. Same thing with the next one. Just hold it in place and then just staple it. Now you can twist them up, raise them up, and just twist them together. Make sure you twist them together good, and they're just in a straight, nice and neat twist, not all jumbled up and in a knot. And I do use a yarn needle to help me tie on. You'll see me grab it in a minute. We're going to get the wreath back. No, actually what I'm going to do now is we're going to cut all of our ribbon tails. So this is the ribbon that I picked out. So I had a couple lemon ones that I chose which one. I decided to go with the one with the gingham check on it right there. That's going to be my funky bows. Had a little bit of black edging on that wording, so that's where I want that little bit of black to come in. So that's going to be super pretty. We do put lemons in our bowls. Onions, lemons, mushrooms. Sometimes we put, I've seen people put Brussels sprouts, sausage. We put sausage in with the crawfish bowl. Now that gray color, that's going to represent the pot. So that's going to bring in that color of that pot that we all use down here to boil our crawfish in. I know sometimes it's like they're usually aluminum pots. That way they're kind of lightweight because they're big. And that chicken wire, that's kind of what the cages are made out of, what they catch the crawfish in the ponds and in the basin down in South Louisiana. So that's just all gonna tie together in the theme that we're working for. It is. It's gonna actually work really, really good. Now we do sell ribbon and stuff here at Small Town Wreath Shop, so y'all can check us out there. Let's get these things cut. I'm gonna wind up cutting. The tails are going to be 13 inches. We use a ribbon tail board from Miss Jenny Sanchez at Wood Bits and Pieces, and that's it right there. You just wrap your ribbon on it, and you count how many times. We're going to need we're going to need 18 of the crawfish, and 9 of the gray, and 9 of the chicken wire, because we're going to alternate those two colors. We're going to put a crawfish ribbon on every tie with a gray, and then the next one's going to be a crawfish ribbon with the chicken wire. Then back to the gray, then with the chicken wire. And we're just going to keep alternating until we get all 18 sets in there. And then we're going to have our funky bows. So we're going to cut these, like I said, 18 of the crawfish ones. Right here, when I count, y'all, I sound like the Tootsie Pop owl when he's counting, when he's licking, trying to get to the center of the Tootsie Pop. A 1, a 2. Alright, so just pull your ribbon tail board out. Make sure you open up I just stick my finger in, and you cut the end, and you flip it over. And you cut the other end, and there's going to be a little piece in there that was folded over. It'll just fall out, so just cut and it'll fall out of there. There it is. And we're going to just lay them out. Now we're going to cut the others. Now we need 9 of this one. I'm getting them all cut before I start doing any dovetailing or anything like that. That's that little piece that'll cut and it'll fall out. I just loop it over. So let's get 9 of these. Just take your time. Supposed to enjoy all this creating, crafting. Take and cut it off. Pull your board out. Trim the top. You can see that little piece in there. Make sure you cut under it. Cut it, drop it out. Flip it over. Make sure your finger's in there where it's supposed to be. And cut it again. Alright, now we got one more color to do, and that's the gray. And it does have the little bit of trim, the little gingham type trim on the outer rim of this 2.5 inch ribbon. Now all of these are 2.5 inch by 10 yard rolls. Same thing. That one was already folded, so that's just where I'm gonna let it fold over on the board, and I'm just gonna wind up cutting it off. So we need 9 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And there we go. So that's going to be all of our 2.5 inch ribbon that we're using for our ribbon tails. We do have the lemon for our funky bows. Now once we get all of these cut, we always lay them on top of each other. Now I'm going to keep them separate, but I'm going to grab them just like they're going to go in the wreath. So I'm going to grab a crawfish, grab a chicken wire, make sure that they're fairly close to being either even. So if, I'll bring it down. Let some show on the top, some show on the bottom, and you fold it together. You fold the wire together. I keep that wire in my left hand. Then I cut with my right, and you cut up toward the wire at a 45. And that's going to give you your dovetail. There's your little dovetail cut. We're going to do both sides, or both ends. I'm not going to cut any more than 2 ribbons at a time, because your dovetails start to look crazy. So then just fold it in half and then just bend it. All of our ribbon is wired. So just fold it, lay it to the side. Now you're going to grab a crawfish and a gray. And we're going to repeat the process until we have all the ribbon tails done. You should have 18 folded up once you're finished. Now that one was a little shorter, but we're going to just keep them even. Same thing, fold it and cut up toward the wire. Get your dovetail, flip it around, repeat again, and we're going to do this 16 more times, and that'll give us our 18. And when you cut them like this, they'll always come out about the same length, and they just look neater that way. So let's get everything cut and we'll be right back. Alright, so we got all of our ribbon tails are cut, and we've got them off to the side. Now we're going to cut our funky bows. Our funky bows, they're made out of 24-inch pieces. I know we always talk about working in odd numbers, 3s, 5s, 7s. But I think looking at the wreath that I'm going to go with 4. So I'm going to cut 4 to begin with. If I need some more, I'll cut them. But we're going to measure on the cutting board, the cutting mat, 24 inches, and I'm going to cut 4 of them. And then all we do with these is you just fold together end to end. And then you fold them over, and you cut up toward the wire, making your dovetails. This is some really, really pretty ribbon too. Gonna brighten it up. Alright, so we just fold them end to end. Then we fold it in half, just like we do in the ribbon tails. Keeping that wire in that left hand, that's because I'm right-handed, and then cut up toward the wire, right toward that corner at a 45. And it gives both of your dovetails at once. Keep on cutting. We got 2 more. 2 more, and we'll have these out of the way, and then we'll start putting all of this ribbon in, y'all. It does take a little while to put this ribbon in there. These wreaths, they do take time. If you do take your time and put a little bit of effort and a little pride into it, you can make them come out really pretty. Alright, so we got everything cut. Now we're ready to start going in with all those ribbon tails. So just take your pick. We're going to get a crawfish and a chicken wire. I lay them down. You can see where it was folded. And you just accordion or scrunch or whatever you want to call it with your fingers real tight across that middle. Kind of looks sort of like a little bow tie. And we're going to put the crawfish wreath down. We're going to just pick a tie to get started somewhere. Open it up and stick the ribbon tail down in that V of the tie. Now the ties are getting really short, so it's getting harder and harder. So just try to get it down in there and get like one twist on it if you can. You don't really have to twist them. You can fold it over them, but and then work with your ribbon tails. I kind of, right here I'm showing them how I kind of make an, in that tie where I tied it at. But I like to make an X. So we're going to take the chicken wire one and kind of go toward the middle, crawfish toward the outside. And we're going to do opposite the other side, crawfish toward the inside and chicken wire toward the outside. So it kind of makes an X. To me, the ribbon tails look really good like that. And that's what they look like. So now we're going to get a crawfish and the gray, because we're going to alternate. So we're going to do one chicken wire, one gray. One chicken wire, one gray. And just keep alternating until we have the whole thing done. Sometimes we stick the signs on first and then work around it. I opted this time to just put them all on and just let the signs lay, and then I would just work my ribbon tails around it. So just let them go into an X. Doesn't matter. You're going to have ribbon tails laying on top of ribbon tails, but that's how it gets a lot of coverage, and you get to see a lot of that pretty ribbon. And there is our next X, but it's in the gray and the crawdads. And now you can see how these colors are going to come together. So now let's get all these tails on. There we go. Now we got everything tied in, all 18s in, kind of separated. Looking good, y'all. It's looking good. It's looking sweet. I like it. Now I'm just kind of working with my... Now I got to decide where we're going to put the signs at. So we're going to... I've already kind of got an idea in my mind how we're going to do that. I'll put the funky bows on after we do the sign. So let's get these signs. I'm going to do the welcome sign kind of toward the bottom a little bit, but we're going to angle it. Remember, we did oval the wreath, so you want to take a look under the bottom. Find that point, find your top and or your bottom or whatever, and make sure you got your sign exactly where you want it. And can tell where you're going to be tying to that wreath form. And this is how the crawdad is going to, I wanted him to fall right there past that welcome where it didn't cover up the E. Now we do have to kind of work with him a little bit, but that's going to look good right there. Going to look super cute. Super cute. This is where I do use the yarn needles. I use the yarn needle to help me get through that mesh, get down to those metal work form wires, and then we just wrap them, you know, with the chenille stem. There's my little yarn needle. Pick those up at Hobby Lobby or I guess any craft store. They work really well. Just let the chenille stem, stick the chenille stem through it and just fold it over. And then just shove down through the mesh wherever you're ready. You know, get it. I like to kind of see if I can at least keep it on the inner ring, maybe the center ring. I don't necessarily like to tie to that outer ring though. To me, it makes it easier to work on the inside when you turn it over on that inner ring. Now I wind up wrapping about 4, 5, 6 times, and I don't tie it yet. I just kind of wrap around, wrap around, wrap around. I push down. I keep your sign kind of tight on your mesh. Just kind of push down, get it firm. Don't smash it so much, but just maybe a little. But then you can wrap your chenille stem around your form. Get it wrapped on, and then we'll get that bottom one, get the next one. So this is one of the hardest parts of the wreath. It does bother your fingers, but it has to be done. My wife, she don't like to do it, and it may take you a minute or two. We got that one. Now let's get this other one. Make sure your sign's where you want it. Kind of hold it still. Get ready to go in. Just take your chenille stem, shove it through your needle, and fold it over. Bing. Stick it in there. I try to stay kind of right underneath where I stapled it, so they'll kind of be going straight up and down. Pull it through. Make sure it's not pulling and dragging down one of the curls or anything like that. And then just pull it snug and start wrapping. It just takes a little while. Sometimes it's hard where my fingers they won't fit between the two bars, or so it's all right. It happens. It's just a little aggravating part, but it's all good. And just start wrapping. We'll get it wrapped, and then we're gonna set the crawfish on top and kind of take a look at it. Make sure that we get it done exactly like we want it as well. Make sure that it's tight enough and it's not wobbling. We definitely don't want it to be moving around much at all. And I really don't want that tail covering up that E if I can help it. It may slide over a little, but I'm going to try to get it tight enough. So the same thing, we're going to do all three of the ties on the crawdad. Just find you a place to go through. Now sometimes I have pulled the chenille pulled through and the needle came through, but the chenille stem stayed, so we had to kind of start over a little bit, but most of the time it works pretty well. That time it pulled out. So just hook it back up. Find your little. I always try to. Well, sometimes I pull the wreath over to the edge of the table, so I can kind of push down. And sometimes it's harder than others to push through because it may just happen to fall right at a more of a pile of mesh where all of that's tied together, and it just makes it a little harder. So get it through, take the needle off, and as soon as you get it, you can start doing your wrapping. Wrap it 5 or 6 times. I'm going to pull him up kind of where I want him to be a little bit more. He still needs to slide a little bit more, but we'll take care of that in a minute. Just keep working on it, and this is one of the, it just takes a little while to get these signs tied on. So take your time. I know sometimes if it bothers your hands, take a break if you have to. If it gets too aggravating, take a 5x5. Take 5 steps back and 5 minutes to think about what you're doing, and take a little break. Get them hands a rest. Now I will leave a link in the description below to some of the stuff, the tools, the things that we used. It will be in the description, so y'all check that out. I'll try to link in Miss Tammy's page, Miss Jenny Sanchez's as well. We hope y'all get some value out of our videos. I hope if y'all like them, y'all let us know in the comments below. We appreciate each and every one of our followers on every social media page that we have. We love all of y'all to death. Without y'all, we couldn't grow. and we won't grow. So make sure to share it and send somebody over to watch, especially if you like what we make and what we do. We'd appreciate it. And don't forget, click that subscribe button, y'all. Click that subscribe button and that bell notification button, and that way you'll get notified every time we have videos come out, which is usually 2 times a week, Wednesdays and Saturdays. Getting closer, y'all. Getting closer. This wreath turned out super cute. I actually just listed it for sale today on our Etsy shop. So if you are watching this video on Wednesday and you are interested in it, go check it out, y'all. You can go to smalltownwreathshop.com, click on the menu, the little hamburger, open it up, go to our completed wreaths, and it'll take you straight to our Etsy shop, and you can check this one out. I think it is $134.95 is how much this one's going to cost. It's not going to last long. Somebody from South Louisiana or somebody that has these crawfish boils and stuff, they'll be snatching this one up. Last one. Our last little tie. Then we got to stick our funky bows in, and we are going to be done. Super, super pretty, y'all. I'm really stoked, really proud of this one. My wife's taught me well. I've learned pretty good from everybody else that I've watched, just like y'all. Watching me, I hope you learned something. I hope you say, if he can do it, I can do it. Because I tell people all the time, y'all, if I can do it, you can do it. Don't let anybody tell you you can't. I am a little crazy when it comes to my ribbon tails and stuff, y'all. I do like my... I'm just pulling out from under the sign a little bit. I didn't really care that it covered up claws. You can tell that it's a crawfish. Some people thought it was a lobster, but this is our crawfish down here in the south. It's our lobster. Our southern lobster, y'all. Now, how stinking cute is this thing? I mean, there's some guy that boils crawfish down here. His wife's gonna see this, and the next time he's on his out in his patio, on his outdoor kitchen, he's gonna have this wreath hung up on his patio. And all of the wives that come over for the gathering, they're gonna be like, "Where in the world did you get this?" All right, there's our funky bows. So fold your ends together. The ribbon's 24 inches long, so about 12 inches once you fold it down together. And I still measure. You know, I measure everything. So fold your dovetails together. I lay it down on the mat. I start at the number 10 at the bow, at the loop, and I go to about 4.5 or 5 inches. And then I just kind of scrunch across. You just scrunch across, pull it all together, and pick it up. Now work your little loop out. You know, work your ribbon out so it looks nice and neat. And you're going to treat those tails on the bottom as legs. And we want those legs to kind of kick up. We want them apart, and we want them to kick up. So you're going to take one of them. As soon as I get through messing with the bow, with the loop. Alright, so you're going to take one of them that's already facing up. He's good. You're going to make him, then you're going to twist that other one around. So they're both facing the same way. And you see how you got like little legs. And we're just going to stick that in there. So I'm going to have to really, really find a place. I went like on a clock. I basically went 12, 6, 9, and 3. You know. So that's basically what I did. I didn't want to, I mean, I could have put 4 more. I mean, I could have put 8 between and had a lot of it, but I didn't feel like it needed it. We don't put, I mean, we do put lemons in our water and stuff when we boil, but it's not like we're just dumping, you know, buckets of lemons in there. So I just wanted that little bit of lemon to show. Now right here, y'all, the ties, I had put so much stuff in this wreath that the ties were really short. So I was, when I untied them, trying to stick these funky bows down in there, it was all I could do. That was the last thing that was going in them ties. So we're just going to make sure that loop stands up, and we're going to open those two legs and make sure that they're facing out good so somebody can see them. Play with your ribbon enough to get it, get it straight. If they're too long, you can snip them off. But I think they looked good. Now we've got 3 more to put in. So let's get these 3 in here, and y'all can kind of see how the finished product turned out. Let me know in the comments what y'all think of this one, if y'all would like to see us make some more like this. So now that's what it's going to look like, and we're going to put 4 of those in. So let's get those in real quick. Alright, now we got all 4 of them in. Now we're finished, y'all. That is the finished wreath. Super, super, super duper cute, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Please give us a like, give us a thumbs up. Don't forget, make sure that you subscribe to our channel, y'all. We'd appreciate it like a ton. This wreath has so much character. It's great. It's just wonderful. I'm super proud of it, and I'm super proud to share it with y'all. So definitely make sure, give us a thumbs up, y'all. Subscribe to the channel. I'm Craig with the Bickums. We'll see y'all next time.